nature of the program anyway. So, I think it was all in sync that it was going to be handled that way. But I think, my upbringing, which we've been talking about a little bit, really prepared me to be a good guy in that situation. And I am so grateful for that. I have always been grateful, and as I've gotten older, increasingly grateful for the upbringing. But my job was to be respectful, to be respectful of her relative naivete on a personal level. As an actress, Melissa could run circles around. as a person who was living in the world, I had a little more life experience than she'd had at that point, and I wanted to be careful and respectful about that.
So this is the 50.
I think that was the lesson.
I mean, this is 50 years later. We're talking 50 years later, and it's when we watch it on the reruns, I'm like a little kid. I'm like, look at him. Oh, that's and I don't know if you know this, but I've had Alison Arngrim on the show with me a couple times.
Well, of course you have. I think Alison has talked to every media personality in America.
Well, I'm glad I got her, in the Zoom time. And she talked about the relationships that were going on, on the set and off the set, and she was saying how respectful that the elders were to her, and she played little nasty Nellie, and and she played that role. So did Melissa. So did all of you. Did an excellent job. But to be still standing 50 years later, what are some of the? I want to know what was that phone call because they didn't do email back then. What was that call like when they called you up and said, Dean, we want you to read for Little House on the Prairie?
I know. I got the call from my agent, and I had auditioned for Michael in late April of 1979, and he basically offered me the part in the room without officially offering it. But I didn't actually get an offer for another 2.5 weeks after that. And I really felt like this had gone well. He basically asked me what I was doing in the middle of May. I told him. He said, he was just very positive about it. To have not gotten any word for 2.5 weeks, I was just feeling like, what has happened here? Has this gone completely sideways? How could that have happened? When I did get the call from my agent, a wonderful woman named Ina Bernstein at International Creative Management, I got her phone call, and they told, darling, sweetheart, she said, she was like a grandmother. We got an offer, sweetheart. And so she, I was just overjoyed. And she loved Little House. So when these auditions came up, she said, if you get an offer to do Little House, you will do Little House. It wasn't
up for discussion.
It was a statement. You will do Little House.
That sounded like your mother, your grandmother.
Yeah, she was great. And I think she was as thrilled for me as I was to have this opportunity. I didn't really know. I mean, look, I was just grateful, as many young actors would be, Mother Love, to get a job.
And know you were going to get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was really the big win. It wasn't until I started working on the show, really working on the show, that I truly realized how good it was. And I think at that point, during that first summer, I was shooting and then watching reruns from season 5 during that summer, and watching episodes and these beautiful stories with beautiful pictures and music and wonderful performances. I was so knocked out by this as I watched it. And as it went on, by the time we premiered by the time I came on in September of 1979, there was no doubt in my mind that I was involved in something really special.
And that is such a great feeling when you get that. So when your folks would, did you go to them and say, I want to be on TV, I want to be a star, and what did they say?
So my mother who loved high school theatrical.
Okay.
She did a lot of plays and so forth. she loved the idea, but my father had a very, predictably, as a lot of fathers would, had a very different take on it about how are you going to make a living. And I think, you know, at the time, no one wants to hear that. In retrospect, my father was being a good father and asking that question. And he was doing, you know, because he had to make a living. Mm-hmm. He had to do what he was doing, and no one fixed it for him. He had to get it done. And he was justifiably concerned. And, you know, I would say about acting, and I said this to people, you know, when it's going well, there are few things more fun for a whole range of reasons. There are few things as fun as being an actor. On the other side of it, when things are not going well, and they don't go well for everybody at some time, it's horrible when it's not going well.
Right.
And I think that's when you find out how, well, either you find out, you know, how dedicated you are and you were able to ride that through and hopefully come out on the other end, or if it's never gone well, you know, there's a point where you have to say, I need to look at another direction here. And I think just for survival, we all have to do that. I always say to young people that I talk to in school, if there's nothing else you can imagine yourself doing than being an actor, you have to try it.
Right.
You've got to give it a shot. If there's, on the other hand, if there's anything else you can imagine yourself doing besides being an actor, do that. Because it's so hard, it can be soul crushing.
And it's brutal.
Because it's never, the decisions that are made, the judgments that are made about you aren't personal.
No, it's business.
But you are a commodity.
Right.
And you are being viewed as a commodity, and it's like, well, I don't like that commodity, I want another commodity. For you, as the actor, it's deeply personal, and your whole life is engaged in it. And for most actors, even really successful actors, if you look over the course of a career, you're probably only going to get about 5, you know, maybe if you're exceptional, you might get 10% of the jobs you audition for, maybe. Most actors, even successful actors, will go back through a career and say they got maybe 5% of what they auditioned for. There is so much defeat
in this business. You better have some skin.
You need some good things to balance out all that.
And you gotta have good skin, because in this business, as in a lot of competitive businesses, you have to know what your mettle is. You have to know when it comes down to being in a dog fight, you got to figure out, are you gonna be the one getting chewed up, or are you gonna be the one that's doing the chewing? And I remember when I first got into this business, and this is the first time when I came to California, was the first time I ever got fired from a job. I had never been fired or never been said, okay, well, we're going in another direction. I'm like, what other direction you going to go in? I'm going the same direction you're going. And see, I didn't know how. See, they didn't give me the Hollywood handbook. They sent for me to come out here to California. So I'm like, okay, y'all knew who I was. I came right. Y'all knew what the thing was. And a lot of it is about control. The suits controlling the talent. And when talent speaks up, a lot of them have a problem with that. I mean, I know people have a lot of problem with me because I'm straightforward. I'm allergic to BS, and I'm like you said earlier, talk to you straight. Tell me honestly. I can take no. I can handle it. That's not a problem. You know, because I'm going to keep moving and keep moving. Talking about keep moving, you are not just an iconic actor. And we was going to marry you. It was going to be like 6 of us was going to marry you. We was ready for, they got one with a wife, and they got like sister wives. They got one husband and 18 wives. You would have been that guy. And you produce, you direct, you wear many, many hats, and you do so much. What made you decide, you know what, Dean? I think I'm going to write my memoir.
Yeah, so I think where the trying other things, or producing and writing a little bit and directing, I think what I loved about that is that for me, that became a more immersive process, where you are there from the beginning to the end of the project. As an actor, I became aware very quickly, certainly in film, that the actor is very important for probably the shortest part of the process, which is the actual production. What happens before that work that goes on before a camera ever turns on, that's a really exciting part of the process. And what happens after the actors are wrapped and go home, the editing, the marketing, all of those things happen after the actor goes home. And that part of the process I found as immersively interesting, if not more immersively interesting, than the work that I was doing, because it was about the actual creation of the thing. Whatever the thing is, the people, I really came to the conclusion that the producers and the directors are really the ones who are having the most fun. The actors are the most public part of it. Too much credit when something's good and taking way too much blame when it's not good.
Okay. So, and writing a book, and especially revealing yourself in your memoirs, that was important. I've read it. You know what? You just like the guy in the book, and I'm just so honored to have talked to you. Tell people how you can get the book, what's the name of the book, and thank you, Harlan, so much for being so patient with us.
Well, Mother Love, thank you. The name of the book is PRAIRIE My Little House Life and Beyond. It is released on June 25th, so a week from tomorrow, the book comes out. It is available for pre-order at Amazon.com as well as at BarnesandNoble.com. But I hope if people are interested in the book that they will walk into their local bookstores and ask for it, because your bookstore will get it for you. It's better for the book, and it's better for the bookstore if you do that. But it's been an exciting process, Mother Love.
Well, I want you to know I am happy that I really am. My heart is full. The fact that you and Harlan, I love Harlan Ball, and he always gives me the greatest people to interview. Well, we're not an interview. We're just having a conversation. That's all we're doing. And I just want to wish you so much success. Thank you for joining us today, and good luck on your book tour. Come back again anytime you feel like it. Man, you could talk real quick. And remember this, babies, no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. And I'm the only other woman your wife gonna trust me with. Love you, mean to see you. Bye, baby. You have been awesome. This is so cold. I can't marry you now because my husband, we just celebrated our 59, I don't know what it was.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been at it a long time. Much success on your book and everything. Thank you, and thank you, love. I'm always here. Give me a call.
Well, you're very kind. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. Peace and blessings, baby. That was Dean Butler. That was Dean. And I'm not starstruck. Yes, I am. Oh, I know. Kennedy? Oh. He was a lot of fun.